Well, good morning. Good morning. Get Balanced 2020. How are you doing? It might be afternoon or evening wherever you are. But this is Patty, and I'm going to adjust this just a little bit. Trying to figure out how to get this all situated here. But I'm Patty with Get Balanced 2020, or if you could be on my Divine Warrior Intuitive channel. I thank you for coming. And actually what I've decided to come on and do really quick here is a talk about standards and boundaries, how to set them again. Now, we did this video a while ago, but I'm getting still a lot of questions about how do I set boundaries. And this is probably coming from the younger generation because a lot of my YouTubers are actually in that range. But the thing is, learning how to set boundaries and standards, healthy ones, without feeling guilty. So that's the question that I was being asked. How do I set boundaries and standards without feeling guilty? And my mind immediately went back to where I was many, many years ago. And so I wanted to come back on and do this again because I can't seem to find the other video to show them. But also, too, it's a good reminder for us, especially in this day and age, because as we go out into the public and we're given even more and more restrictions with the COVID. Oh my goodness, look at those. Anyway, I'm a goofball. Just know I'm a goofball. We're given more restrictions with not only our masks, and the whole thing is, the first thing that we do as human beings is we want a bucket. It's like, nobody's going to tell me what to do. Nobody's going to tell me how to do that. And the thing is, we need to step back and understand that life is completely changing and that new boundaries and new standards are being set from an external area, external place, due to the circumstances that are becoming around us. Now, for somebody who actually is learning how to set standards and boundaries, that's really, really important to really notice not only what's happening outside, because that's something that we can't control, or what is happening within us, inside of us, of what we can control and what we can't control. And those are the first steps of understanding boundaries and standards, and even understanding what a standard is and what a boundary is. So we're going to go into those kind of things, especially if we're going to start talking about self. Self is where we actually set our priorities, our standards, our boundaries, and why those things are being broken down, or why somebody might even have a weakness to understand why is somebody walking all over me, or why did they get away with it and I don't? Well, standards and boundaries are different for everyone. So we'll go through those kind of things. So let's get started on a couple basic things first. So for those of you that are really questioning, I just feel guilty when I set a standard or a boundary. That is deep within. Because when somebody makes you feel guilty, that is something that you are allowing to do. As my daughter says, oh my gosh, here she goes again. But that is something you allow because you have control of your own feelings and your own thoughts and your own mind. That is it. That's all you have control of. Did you know that? Yeah. And you don't have control of somebody else's feelings or somebody else's actions or reactions or whatever it is. So let's step back a little bit and let's get to the definition of what a standard and a boundary is, because a lot of people think they're the same thing. They're not the same thing. So a standard is something that is set by an authority to create a measure. So that could be value, that could be weight, that could be, let me think here. It could be like quality, it could be quantity, it could be a unit of measure, okay? And that is just a basic point of reference. That's where you sort of start, Okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to set a standard. This is what we're going to do. Let's give an example so that you can understand that. A weight and a measure. Okay, I'm on a diet, and so I only get to have 8 ounces of meat per day. So that is my measurement. So maybe I want to have 4 ounces and 4 ounces. That still keeps within that standard. Okay. Now, when it comes to a person, quantity versus quality. If you're dating or you're married, you know what all that is about, right? It's not about the quantity, it's about the quality. So, but basically when you're working with people and you're understanding how much quality time do I want, or what is my standard in the quantity of texts that I want you to send me, phone calls that I want to hear from you, those kind of things, a measurement, okay? So then when we get to the boundary, as you see, a boundary is a line. It is something that there is an end limit to. So I will go up to this point, but if you step over that line, we're done. Okay, so that is a boundary. So for example, if you're dating, okay, and somebody tells you, hey, I'm going to call you at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock is that end line that you're going to call me at. Okay, and so if you're dating and so the 7 o'clock comes around, no phone call. 8, 9, 10, oh boy, and then there's a phone call. Or maybe there is not even a phone call till the next day. So that person went way over the boundary. So it is your choice to allow that person to go over that boundary or say, nope, you said 7 o'clock. You know what? When I got time, I'll give you a call. Or, well, you know what? Was there a legitimate reason? Were you in the hospital? Was there a car accident? Was there... No, I just got busy. Right. Text takes 2 seconds. I'm busy. I can't talk to you right now. Sorry, I'll call you later. No, he stepped or she stepped over that boundary. You are the choice to allow it. Those are things that I'm talking about. So let's go into, I've got a sciatic nerve that's really pinched. So let's go into a couple of things here. So it's hot also. Anyway, so we're going to go into the number one thing for yourself. So why do you feel guilty? What is it that you feel guilty about if you set a standard or a boundary? The reason why you feel guilty is because you've been letting people get away with it for so long that it has become your norm. Thank you for that. It's become your norm. Okay, so when that becomes your norm, then it becomes sort of a dysfunctional norm. So it's all right to you because that's all you know. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just all you know at the time. But when you educate yourself or you learn more about yourself, then you'll be able to hit and make more healthy standards and boundaries. So where does all that come from? Where does that dysfunction come from? Or how did I get this way? How did I allow myself to, let somebody walk all over me? Well, that starts out at a little teeny tiny child or toddler or however you grew up. So a lot of that is based off of your own self-love, self-worth, self-value, and how you got there. So maybe there was a bully as a child or a teen or could be an adolescent or even a young adult. So many people can get bullied for no reason because people are mean and cruel sometimes. The other thing is maybe you were abused or maybe you watched abuse, because then your mind becomes to get distorted in what is actually real, what is healthy, and what is not healthy. And then you think and you grow up because mom or dad beat mom all the time, or mom beat dad all the time. Don't think that don't happen. It does. So either way, you're thinking, that's how they show love? That's how they do love? Then it becomes a dysfunctional pattern. So then we allow that, saying, okay, well, that's the way that's how love is shown. Or you're the one being abused, and then you do everything out of fear. So you set all your boundaries and standards out of fear. Fear is one of the hugest things that drives majority of the people, because there's only two things that really can drive you, is either love, not only love for yourself, but love for another person. And love has so many different levels. Could be love of a friend, love of a parent, love of a sibling, love of a friend, love of a family member, love of a date, and then that gets into different levels. Loving in a relationship. And it's, I love you, I'm in love with you, I'm out of love with you, I'm in love. No, I'm just joking. Got to make light of it, But anyway, so there's so many ways so you have two ways, love or fear. And I can tell you right now, I know, because I have been in those shoes before. Many, many years ago. Many moons ago, I was actually abused. I was sexually abused, emotionally abused, verbally abused. And that's not the point. The point is, that's the past. What we have to learn to set healthy boundaries and standards is to get through that past. Sometimes it's not comfortable at all, but you got to get through it so that you can begin to think healthy. And that's where Get Balanced 2020 talks about mind. It's transforming that mindset that you grew up with, to break away from that and actually transform it into a healthy, positive thinking, self-loving, self-worth, self-value, to get to a point that you are whole again. And a lot of the times when we aren't making healthy boundaries and standards, then we're still broken. It's not bad, because everybody's broken. Shh, don't tell them, but shh, everybody's broken to a point. It's a weak point. And some of us are aware of it, and some of us are not. This person that had asked, I wasn't even aware that I hadn't set good boundaries and standards. I thought I did, because a person that lives in dysfunction, again, remember, that's their norm, right? But it isn't normal. It isn't normal to allow somebody to step over you, to use you, to abuse you, to manipulate you, to get what they want all the time. So we grow up that way, and then we start thinking, I'm not worthy, I'm not valued, nobody loves me, and I'm going to get into my spiritual stuff, low vibration, low energies, low thinking. And when I teach the Get Balanced, we teach about how to transform a bad habit, which is not setting good boundaries for yourself and standards, to a good habit of setting standards and boundaries. Okay, and there are videos for that. I think, I can't even remember it, but anyway, it's in there. So what we want to do, and you can look, I think I'll try to post it up here, and so I'll put it up here somewhere, as far as if you want to go to that one. And that, yeah. So anyway, so we want to make sure that we are setting healthy boundaries. And I got to write that down, good habits, bad habits, or I'm going to forget. So habits, bad. Okay, so where we want to do is we need to go back to the roots and find out where that self-esteem, where did I start feeling not valued? Where did I start feeling low about myself? Where, at what point? And the way to do that is get a piece of paper, super easy. Get a piece of paper. I'm one of those that I think they should call me the 5 W's queen, because that is really how we get to understand where it all started, where the roots happen, where, what, when, how, and why. Sometimes the how isn't as important as to where, what, and when. So a lot of the times, if it's abuse, it started back then. Who did it to you? Because you need to release that person. This is a time of releasing. This is a time to getting to know who you are inside. For me, it was, who is Patty? Who is she? Did she grow up this way? Did she want to be this way? Does she really think that way? It was because it's from many reasons, and we're going to get to that next, of why that actually happened. So here we go. So now we're a toddler, and then we actually we grow up, and I'm trying to think of a bunch of things. I've got so many things and thoughts in my head. So we're growing up as a toddler. We got to find out the 5 W's: who, what, where, why, when. Write those down. Write those down. And you're going to like, well, I don't really have a time that, yes, there is a time in there that this happened. Maybe you got bullied in school. Maybe somebody picked on you. Maybe they began to make fun of your clothes, or maybe they began to make fun of your looks, or maybe me, it was my weight. Wow. You know, I used to be called Fatty Patty 2x4, couldn't get through the kitchen door, blah, 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 whatever. Then my last name became Swank. And in school, it was Swank the Tank. Well, it wasn't that I go back and look at those pictures. I wasn't fat. I was muscular and strong. And I perceived that, because of my abuse, as fat. I was strong. I'm still very strong, even at my age. I love it. But anyway, it was because I was strong. But my perception was so warped that I would take it, draw it in, and it would make me depressed. And then I would go and eat. But still, I was a horse person. So I didn't have time to do that kind of stuff, is to get fat. I just didn't. I was just strong. So again, our perception is a lot to what somebody else. So when we perceive something, somebody else perceives it completely different. Even if I say to my daughter, wow, you're really skinny, you lost weight. She goes, no, I'm not. 125 pounds, you're not skinny? Come on, you're tall. I could fit 2 of me in you. Come on now. So the thing is, our perception and somebody else's perception is very different. Where we have to build our standards and our boundaries is within us. So if you're taking notes, that's the first thing I would want you to do, is as a coaching session, you need to write down the 5 W's. Where did this start? Where did this low self-esteem start, low value start? Then we have to look at what circumstances or what experiences, or even what are my thoughts? Are these someone else's thoughts? What was pounded into my head? Are these actually truly what I believe in inside me? It's because majority of the time of our thought process, because we're not listening to our spirit and heart, and again, that's balance. That's where everything starts, because your heart and your spirit knows that you are beautiful and made perfectly in the image or what the Creator wanted. And there is a purpose of why you look the way that you do, as beautiful as the Creator or the light or the universe or whatever you want to call your Creator. That's why you are the way that you are. There is a purpose, and it is a beautiful, perfect thing. So somebody has already put into your brain some really negative vibrations, low energies, and you began to believe them. Now is the time to stop believing those negatives, stop believing those lower vibrations, stop believing those negative energies, and start transforming your mind into a positive. And then when you can do that, nobody's going to step on you. Nobody is going to step over your boundary or standard, because you have raised yourself up to a higher vibration, higher energy. Your mind process is more productive. Your mind process is more successful in getting to your goals, your dreams, and your desires. And that is another thing too. When we don't set standards and boundaries, we actually hinder ourselves to get to our standards and our boundaries. I mean, When we don't set healthy standards, we can't get to our dreams and our goals and our purpose of what we're meant to be here. Does that make sense? Okay. Whew. Deep breath. Okay, so we need to write down the 5 W's and who has influenced you. What circumstance, what experience, what person has pounded this negative thinking into your head. Because this is a time to change. This is a time, unfortunately, to get to the roots, to get to the pain, to get to that shadow work, if you believe in shadow work. Get to that little person and grow that person up. Okay? So, thank you. Okay, another thing too is we are, when you live in a unhealthy standard boundary lifestyle, you're living in fear. Where is that fear based? Again, do the 5 W's. Where is that fear based? If you are growing up and you are an adult and you are making your own decisions and you are actually on your way, even if you're in your 20s, you are on your way, but you actually need to step out of fear and actually walk in your own skin. So what I mean by that is face that fear, whatever it is. If you've been abused and you're now gone through your homework, or you've gone to counseling, or you've gone to therapy, or you've had a life coach, or whatever it is, most abuses can actually be healed a lot on your own, but you do need somebody there to help you get through those. Even if it's professional or whatever, you need somebody to coach you, give you the tools, how to get through it, how to break your chains, how to get through that. Because once you get through that, then you become a little bit stronger to be able to set a standard. Like I was talking about, if somebody says they're going to call you at 7 o'clock and they don't, you know what? It is your choice, your life, your decisions, how you want to handle that. So if I am a busy person, or if you're in school, I've got to study, I got to work hard, I got to get this stuff done, or whatever it is, and and you're looking forward to talk to that person. See, again, my perception is I want to talk to that person, and the other person's like, nah, they're not that important for me to be right on at 7 o'clock. They're not that important to me that I can just leave them hanging. They're not that important to me. Do you see where this is? They don't think that it's that important to them to be accountable for what they promised to do. Does that make sense? When somebody promises something, which they should never do unless they can follow through, then you make them accountable. So you have to be accountable. So when you're setting a standard, you set your standard and you stick with it. Just don't say, oh, okay, you were busy, especially in the dating world. Man, I need to do a dating video, because let me tell you, guys get in. I'm a female, so I see guys play the games. I know the games, and let me tell you, I don't let them get away with the games anymore. You want to play that game, especially when you're in your 50s or older, you know better, so you go play the game with some little dog or something. But no, that's time to grow up. Time to grow up. Be a grown man, be a grown woman. Don't be a grown girl, don't be a grown boy. I don't need no grown boys, and a man don't need no grown girl. Yeah. Anyway, there we go with that. So anyway, it's time to set a standard, and you need to, when you're learning how to set a standard and a boundary, be steadfast. As is uncomfortable as it's going to be steadfast. And what I mean by that is don't waver. Don't waver. I watched my mother do this with my brother, and he was so messed up in the head. It's like he'd get in trouble. Go to your room. Don't come out until tomorrow. No dinner for you. And it was a serious thing that he would do. And then a couple hours later, oh, okay, it's fine. Come on out and have dinner's ready. And this would happen over and over. This is a very dysfunctional, toxic pattern. This is not a healthy pattern. So he would step all over her and let her get all messed up in the head because he knew how to play her. He knew how to play her. And that's the way that life went. Not with me. If he stole something, man, we go straight back. Come on with me. I'm taking you right back there, and you're going to put that sign back up, or you're going to give that back. Yeah, big sis was more the mom. But that's something that's serious, though. It is very serious because it's very toxic when you allow, especially a teenager or even younger, let them get away with it and then expect them as they grow up to have healthy standards and boundaries. Psh, no, they don't. Okay, so let's get back to you, though. So what we're going to do is we're going to focus in on us, where the basis starts. We're going to say, okay, I'm not really sure how to get started. Well, think of it as a bad habit that you want to change to a good habit. So if you have a standard that 7 o'clock I asked you to call me, and you didn't, and your habit before, the bad habit before was, well, okay, you can call me later, or I'll pick up the phone and talk to you later, kind of thing. It's like, it didn't matter, even though I feel, that was disrespectful. I'm going to just sort of let it go. No, that's the bad habit. That's the old way. The new way is, oh, you said say they call at 10 o'clock that night. Oh, well, you said you were going to call me at 7 o'clock. What happened? Well, I just got busy. Well, that's too bad. I'm in bed now. Good night. I'll talk to you some other time. And hang up. That is replacing it with a boundary, a standard. There is now a limit. You're setting it. You're putting that in their brain. Oh, crap. I can't do that again if I want. And if they call back again. Well, what if they keep calling me? Don't pick it up. Does it say that it's ringing, that you have to pick it up? No, you're setting a boundary. This is a boundary. Same with a date. Same with if anybody says, well, you know what? I'll see you at 3 o'clock. I'll meet you at 3 o'clock. And you go to a place, it's 3 o'clock, it's 3:15, no text, no nothing. This is the age of technology. So you go and you're like, okay, 3:15. Should I wait? Should I go? Should I text him? Heck no! Bye! If they're going to be that disrespectful to you and saying that you're not that important, you don't need them in your life. This is what I'm talking. This can be family members. This can be friends. This can be anybody, co-workers, anything. Project deadlines. Hey, dude, we got a project deadline to be done by tomorrow at noon. Where's your half of the thing? Oh man, I've been too busy. I just, I've been really busy. My desk is overloaded. I don't care. The CEO wants that. I need to have that by 5 o'clock. If not, you know what? I go to the CEO and say, hey, you know what? I did my part. I don't know what you want to do. I don't know who you want to put in place of that, but my job is done. My job is done. I can't finish this project due to Joe Schmo over here that wants to sit with his thumb up his butt. Okay, these are healthy boundaries that you're setting. If it's a family member, no different, because most of the time this dysfunction started with the family. So this is the thing. So when you're looking at things, the other thing is, okay, we're looking at circumstances and experiences and things in life, okay? So the two things that you need to write down is the things that you can control. And these are the things that you're responsible for. These are the things that you're accountable for in your standards and your boundaries. Number 1, your thoughts, your mind. Got it? 2, your actions and reactions. That's it. Again, I said it before. I'm saying it again. Now it's time to write them down. Because anything on the outside, you know what? There's excuses. there is lameness, there's laziness, and in the dating world, there are so many games that can turn your head upside down thinking that you're the one that actually didn't keep their standards and boundaries. In reality, they're playing you to make you think that you didn't, but they didn't keep up to yours. In the dating world, when you're setting your standards and your boundaries, especially if it's a woman going to a man, looking for a man for a date or looking for a relationship, it's really upon you to set your standards and boundaries higher than anybody else's, because you want to bring people up to your standard. You don't want to bring them lower. So if a guy is going to say they're going to take you out and be there, they need to be there, or you need to walk off. Because another thing is, when you set standards and boundaries in anything, you're teaching somebody how to treat you. So if you're low energy, or not, excuse me, low energy, I'm going into the nutrition and fitness. If you're a low self-esteem, low values, you know what? I'm going to talk to women especially for a second. So we in this society, it's not only men, but it is society, our media, our gyms, our dating world. It's anything that we do. They try to make you feel guilty. They try to make you feel less than. They try to make you feel ashamed for being a little bit outside the normal skinny. Not everybody is skinny. That's not the way the divine and the creator made us. That's why it's so exciting to a lot of people, because there's so much variety. So if you're beginning to feel that you're shameful, low self, and all this because of your weight, I've been there. I've walked in those shoes. I'm not skinny anymore, but I did bodybuild and compete. And I'll tell you, I learned so much from the bodybuilding world and the gym world, my coffee, the gym world, that tried to shame you because your skin, you're not their form. But there's also some good things. I learned that my weight is not about my body. And that's why I'm here to teach all this and give all this information for free, because it's here and here. It starts with spirit. Spirit talks to our soul. Our soul is our mind. Our mind is distorted because we're not listening to our spirit. We're listening to everything out here. And then we set horrible standards and horrible boundaries, and we let guys walk all over us. I don't know how many women come to me, especially in my other channel, and say, well, is he going to come back? Will he come back? And it's like, don't take him back. No. If he's going to go, it's like, well, no. Set your standards, be strong, be healthy. And saying, you know what, if you're going to overstep that boundary, if you're going to go have 2, 3, 4 girls or guys or women or men or whatever it is, if you're going to have them in and you can't see the priority and value in me, go have fun. Because that is not me. I am an upgrade. I am a person of high standards and values, of integrity. And that will blow a man's mind. And now I'll go back to the whole general public. But do not allow your weight to define you. Your weight is not you. It was not you. Let me tell you a real quick story. When I was bodybuilding, before I started bodybuilding, I actually was 215 pounds. 215 pounds. And I started out in the gym. And that's where my book came from, actually, that I authored. But the thing is that I was 215 pounds and I had low self-esteem, low self-worth. I was actually catching shoplifters like left and right. So I was in a newspaper for Costco because I worked for Costco for over 10 years. And I actually saw myself and I thought, oh my gosh, I've really let myself go. I'm talking to myself. I really let myself go. So I needed to join a gym because I knew that. But then I knew I wasn't going to follow through. So I had to get a personal trainer because I needed accountability. And this is why coaching and mentoring is becoming popular, because we need to have somebody to make us accountable, to stay on path, to keep going through during our weak phase. Once we're done through the weak phase and we have some tools, you don't need counselors. You don't need coaching. You can do it on your own because you're now a stronger self. But when I started, I was low self-esteem. I got my body weight down to 136 in 1 year. So that's over 70 pounds. And I was on a bodybuilding stage for the first time in my life in one of those little suits. The point is that I thought in the very beginning, if I lost the weight, I'd feel good about myself. No, it actually is reversed. You have to get to the spirit and to the mind and thought process first, because that's broken. And if you don't fix that first, you're going to actually repeat the cycle over and over and over again. Do you see the dysfunction? I didn't set standards and boundaries until after I realized that it wasn't about my weight. It was about my standards, my boundaries, what I allowed people to think of me rather than me project the way that I should have projected myself. A strong, independent, very adventurous, very loving, caring person. So you have to get to those roots. You have to get to the work. Okay? So that is the two things that I'm going to say. Your thoughts, your minds. Now, when you react, you have to sort of look, you're going to have to step back each time you make a decision or a choice, or somebody does it. Most of the time when we set standards and boundaries, it's with another human being. It's with another human being, whether it's work, whether it's a dating, husband, wife, and, family, friends, that kind of thing. It's with another human being. So you're going to have to step back each time in the very beginning and say, do I let them get away with that? Put that in your arsenal. That is not something that you need to say. Do I let them get away with it? Heck no. If you're going to say something, you need to do it. Action speaks louder than words. If you're going to say it, you do it. Don't say it if you're not going to do it. See, so then you're going to be able to figure out who actually is playing you or doesn't care about you, even though words are very cheap. Actions speak louder than words. Then you're going to just make a checkoff list. They've done it 2-3 times now. Time to set them on the back burner, because if they're not respecting your standards and your boundaries, you're in the process of lifting yourself up. You're in the process of raising your standards to higher integrity, higher morals for yourself, no one else. That's who you are working on. You're doing this for you, not anybody else. And I lived that way firsthand for years. I used to allow people to do all kinds of stuff, and I was worst at it. And I had an elderly lady teach me once, and I felt horrible because it didn't click. But then I had a light bulb moment, and I never did it again. And if I did, I made sure I called ahead. I texted or whatever. Hey, I'm going to be late. And it also teaches us standards about ourselves, what we expect somebody else to do, we need to do ourselves. If we make a promise, we need to follow through with it. So it helps grow us to that next level. It's not only helping and teaching somebody else, it's also helping and finding out who we need in our circle and who to, discard until they grow up and get their standards and boundaries in line with mine. Because you know what? It's a privilege to be in my world. It's a privilege to be in my world. And that may sound sort of, oh, wow, that sounds a little egotistical to me. No, because God made me the way that I am. And if you want something from me, or if you want to be sharing my life, these are my standards and my boundaries. And if you can't live up to them, then that's okay. That's okay. Go and be on your way. But that's okay, because you're not meant to be in my life. You're not meant to, this is my journey. So that you're meant to be in my life if I allow you in my circle. And I only allow people that have higher standards, higher morals, higher integrity. That's the way you should be. But you can also, once you get the strength in you and you build these standards and boundaries over a few years, maybe it won't even take you a few years, then you will actually sit there and help someone else, because it doesn't end with you. You go and you teach someone else. It's not give a person a fish. It's teach them how to fish so they can catch their own. Okay, so that's it's pretty much it. It's actually at the basis, at the end of the day, the end of the story, you're going to have to find out where that self-esteem and that self-value got broken. And sometimes you need help to do that. Get a coach. If you don't have one around you, or don't have even a friend that can be an accountability partner that you can ask questions to and give you the truth, not be a passive lie or a passive truth. Like, oh yeah, you look good in that. But really you don't. You need that friend that actually can tell you the truth. I've got one that can do that. And I actually I embrace that person, because that helps me grow to a place I need to recognize. Maybe I'm not recognizing it. Maybe I need to ask somebody. Maybe I need to get some feedback. But here's the thing. You've got to be careful who you interact with and ask those questions, because again, they're human. You should be going to the divine and asking all your questions, all your answers, all your things. I had a friend tell me too. So does that mean, I said, you shouldn't be asking, so does that mean I listen to you? No, you shouldn't be. You should be listening to the divine. It's between you and the divine. Whatever you actually want to set your standards at, I don't know your journey. I don't know your path. I can give you tools that will help you to get away from dysfunction. But the rest is up to you and the divine. Whether you use tools, whether you listen to him, whether you say, because here's the thing. If I were to coach you and you were to set standards and tools, or give you the tools to set standards and boundaries, that's between you and him. And you're like, well, that doesn't make sense. Oh yeah, it is. Okay, so you set that 7 o'clock again. You set that 7 o'clock with somebody else. I say, okay, here's what you do. If he or she doesn't call you at 7 o'clock, it gets to be 8, 9, 10. You know what? You can pick it up and find out if there was emergency. And if there wasn't, okay, talk to you another time. And if they keep calling back, then do you pick it up again? No, you don't. But if you listen to the divine, I can tell you that. But if that phone call comes in and you're by yourself, then what happens is, what do? Your divine is telling you, don't pick it up, or find out and stand your boundaries, stand your ground. But you pick it up. Oh, hi, how are you doing? Oh, well, that's okay. You were busy. I get it. Oh, it's so good to hear your voice. Oh, I really missed you. Oh, yeah. That's where I talk about the divine comes in. You have to listen to your intuition. Your intuition, when you set those boundaries, because the divine is going to help you set those boundaries. And the divine is going to help you get on track, get on a more spiritually based rather than head-based thinking. Because head is earth. Head is your childhood growing up, brainwashing or teaching or however it is. That's earth. It doesn't start here. It starts here. And that's why I say spirit, mind, and body. Body comes last, because the body will react what the mind tells it to do. And that's when it becomes you're responsible for your speaking, your actions, or your reactions. Same with road rage. You have that choice to sit behind the wheel. You can get mad, but it's when you act on it, you get out of the car or you flip somebody off or you, whatever it is, then you can do that, but you're responsible for that. So if you expect somebody else not to have road rage and you do, you're being a hypocrite. So you need to set your standards to what you be able to do for yourself, what you speak. If you want to be a potty mouth and cuss and you want to be around people that don't do that, because you can speak. I'm sorry, but any person can speak and get their point across without using the F-bomb, without using the S-bomb, without using the B-bomb. Who in the heck calls each other B? You know, B. Women do it all the time. Oh, that is such a negative, low vibrational word. All those cuss words, don't get me wrong, I used to do it. And once in a while it'll slip out if I'm super, super angry. But the thing is, those are low vibrational, low energy words. They don't do any good. For example, how many of you have ridden in a car where you don't road rage? You don't understand it. You don't get it. You cannot control it. It's outside of you. You cannot control the environment outside of you. But somebody is driving and they're just going off and they're starting to speed up and whip around. And how does that energy make you feel? It begins to throw it up, throw you off. You get nervous and your vibrations start going lower. And that energy is so destructive and dysfunctional. It needs to just be replaced with a, I'm not saying that anybody doesn't do it. Yeah, you get mad. It's just, but you're basing the way that you grew up and how to drive by everybody else. And nobody else may, especially if you're from another country. Trust me, I've driven in other countries and we don't drive anything like that. So they drive the way that they think they should be driving. And that's not their fault because that's the way their environment is and their circumstances and energies or their experiences are. But the thing is that we expect that everybody should be the way that we want them to be. That's why it's important to set your standards, your boundaries for your life, your journey, the way that you need them to be. For me, I used to be low standards, low vibrations, low boundaries, let everybody walk over me, let everybody say that I was fat, I was ugly, you know what, go ahead and say it. That's not who I am. That doesn't define me. I define me. My divine defined me. So if you want to do that, bye-bye. Because you don't bring any productivity. You do not bring anything positive into my life. You don't bring any inspiration. You don't bring any helping. You're destructive. You're dysfunctional. No thanks. I don't need it. I even did that with my family. I even did that with my mom for a while. It's like, no, you can't control me. I'm grown up now. This is not something that you can control. And we had a long discussion and it actually turned out very, very beautiful afterwards. But we have to get to that point. So rather than beat a dead horse and go over and over and over it, that is how you actually learn how to set your boundaries and your standards without feeling guilty. Because you have to learn that self-love, that self-value, that control of who you are. Don't allow yourself to grow up. And if you're already a mature adult, don't define yourself by the way somebody else has told you that you are or the way that you even grew up. You set your life, your boundaries, your standards based on you. See that heart right there? I'm going to point and it's going to be right there. See that heart right there? Then that's you. Your heart, your divine, your intuition is you. And you deserve everything good, everything positive, everything in your journey that is going to lift you up and bring you joy. I'm getting goosebumps. That's the divine. Lift you up and bring you joy fulfillment, success, whatever that is to you. Doesn't mean it's money. It could be just being happy and whole again, and bring that to your life. And the way that you're going to do that is you're going to start by getting to the roots of the 5 W's, finding out who you are. If you need a coach, get a coach. If you need to message me, message me. If you need to email me, email me. If you have questions, do it. It's all free. Why wouldn't you try to go and get something for free that actually might help and grow you into the better person that you're supposed to be? All right. So hopefully this helped the person that, feels like, why do they make me feel guilty? Only you can allow them to make you feel guilty. And why would you feel guilty for somebody else's feelings about you? I'm really sorry you feel that way, but I don't feel that way. Get the help. Get through the weaknesses, get through the brokenness, the little bit of brokenness, because we're all broken and we keep growing anyway. But the other thing too is get the help that you need professionally if that's necessary, and get yourself to a pattern of a positive, balanced lifestyle. Balance comes from mind, spirit, and body. If you don't have all 3 of those, I don't know how anybody could even think that they're balanced. But some people, they disagree, but that's okay because I know what works. He's given me the way. All right. Talk to you soon. Hopefully this helped and enjoy. Please like, share, subscribe. I've not asked that, but if you subscribe, then you can actually see live videos like this. You'll get, and hit the bell. You'll get a notification when I come on live. I'm going to be doing more videos on health and nutrition and fitness and also of spirit. Or you can go to my Divine Warrior Intuitive and you can get videos there on spirit. But mostly I do everything here on Get Balanced 2020. So go to the website, look at all the free videos that I have on every subject, mind, spirit, and body, how to transform those bad habits. You need more help on that. Watch that. Transform the bad habit to the healthy habits and that kind of thing too. It will help with your nutrition and fitness as well. All right, talk to you soon, or I'll keep talking and babbling on because I love this. Anyway, take care. I love you guys. You are so worthy of everything positive and of light and love. It's all about love and truth. Walk in the truth of who you are. That's what the divine wants. Take care now.